And what better way to start it than with two of the most vaunted Hoosiers of all time, Don Fischer, and of course, Mr. George Taliaferro, who's right behind me there. Don, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I don't think we're going to hear a lot from George, though.
Well, that's okay. He's just overlooking things, and but I don't think I've ever done a show with two more important Hoosiers than these two figures right here. But how was your weekend? It had to be a little bit better. I know the game down in Bowling Green, while it was exciting, let's say, it was victorious. A lot of positives come out of it. There's some questions, of course, but a lot of positives on the offensive side, at least.
Well, there's no question it was the best offensive game that Indiana's played this year. It was by far the best performance by Michael Penix. Probably, without question, the best performance by Ty Freifogel. The passing game was looking like what we've seen in the past from Penix and his receiving core. There's no doubt that the run game actually played a part in this game as well. And Stephen Carr had another really good performance for this Indiana football team. So offensively, everybody's got to be pretty happy. And without question, the big question is, how good was Western Kentucky? We know that they were really good offensively because they gave Indiana's defense all kinds of problems in this matchup. And I think that was to be expected to some degree because of the prolific quarterback that they have in Bailey Zappi. Their wide receiving core is special. They have so many of these guys that are just the same kind of receiver, fast, athletic, maybe not the biggest guys in the world, but they find a way to get open. And the passing attack is so dynamic and so up-tempo. It reminded me of the Ole Miss team that we saw last year in the Outback Bowl, in which Indiana struggled with that tempo in that ball game. So from Indiana's perspective, I think you could say this was a very important win. Was it a dominant performance? It was not. But Indiana was able to find a way to get it done, and the defense was put upon in this game, but I'm not sure we're going to see another passing game like that the rest of the year. So that may be a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. And the tempo that you mentioned, it just was wearing the defense out. Offense did a decent job of they had the time of possession, which was what they needed to do to keep the defense on the sideline as much as possible. Unfortunately, Western Kentucky was able to have the same output offensively in half the time than Indiana was. But Michael Penix just looked a lot more comfortable. You talked about going to Ty Freifogel, the use of the tight ends more. He looked more comfortable going through his reads. He had the offensive line did a better job giving him more time to look for to go through his reads. He just looked like the Michael Penix we expected to see.
Exactly. And that was that we were wondering when it was going to happen because it did not happen the first three ball games. And even in the Idaho game, I mean, they had no yards passing the football in that matchup as far as Indiana's offense was concerned. So to see Michael perform like he did in this game was critical to this team, not only for Michael's confidence, but I think the team's confidence as well. And obviously, he didn't throw any interceptions in this game. He didn't throw any touchdown passes in this game. But
very odd. He threw for 373 yards and no touchdowns. Right. That's a little strange.
Exactly. It was different, to say the least. But they were able to convert. Charles Campbell was phenomenal again in this ball game. This guy is just, man, he is good. I mean, he's just
how many hits straight now? I know he was 4 for 4 in the game.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look at that, but there's no question this guy's missed one field goal in his career at Indiana. That tells you everything you need to know. And the one that was missed in this ball game, and it was missed, the ball was snapped back, and Chase Wyatt, the holder, kind of bobbled a little bit, got it down, and actually Charles got the kick off. And I think it had enough distance, but it was a little bit to the right. It was off mark. But because of a penalty, they got to do it again, and Charles was able to knock it through. So he kept his record alive of having only one miss in his career, but and none this year. So he had 4 field goals in the game. 2 of them were 40-plus yards. This guy's got a great leg, and he is as accurate as any kicker that Indiana's ever had.
Absolutely. And things this week, Charlie Miller joins us. Charlie, how are you, buddy?
How you guys doing? Doing well.
Doing great.
Good to see you, Charlie.
Thank you.
This week, Don, things ramp up quite a bit. Indiana stays on the road, but they go to Happy Valley, 100,000-seat stadium. Penn State, they're coming off of a big win offensively. Sean Clifford is playing really well. Penn State could be the best team in the Big Ten East or the Big Ten period. Don't know that yet, but it's going to be an absolute challenge that Indiana has not faced this season thus far.
Well, you're right. Although I would give Iowa a little credit there, and Penn State will face Iowa, I think, after us at some point. So it's going to be very interesting to see those two teams match up. But you're right. Indiana's going into a hornet's nest in this regard, not only because of Indiana, struggles and all those kinds of things, but Penn State is waiting for Indiana. There's no doubt in my mind, after Indiana won the controversial first game of the season last year, Indiana wins it with Michael Penix diving for the end zone, and they review it for about 10 minutes, and finally it comes out Indiana wins the ball game. So there's no doubt that kind of put Penn State on the decline for a while. They ended up finishing the year strong, but there's no doubt this Penn State team has tons of talent. Really good defense as always. Their offense can be dynamic. The Dotson kid has been special for them. They got a good receiving core, a good running game, a quarterback that's been there forever, and a defense that is always among the best in the Big Ten. So it's going to be a major challenge for this Indiana football team. And it'll be the best challenge Indiana's had since the Iowa ball game. And obviously Indiana's going to have to play their best football game of the year.
I believe that Penn State, Michigan State are all 4-0 in the Big Ten East. Ohio State with the loss to Oregon. So the Big Ten East already looking like the Big Ten East of old, as we'll be seeing as the year falls out. But this is a game that sent Penn State in a spiral last year. That was the first game, and they ended up losing 5 straight after that before they won their last 4. So the year before that, at Happy Valley, Indiana played, I think it was within a touchdown in that game, if I'm not correct.
Yep. I mean, Indiana's played Penn State tough, and they've played them tough at Penn State in the past. But this team, as I said, Indiana hasn't shown what they're capable of in a total package at this point. The defense Saturday had all kinds of problems with the Western Kentucky passing game, which I anticipated that was going to be the case because of how fast and the up-tempo play that Western Kentucky does with their passing attack. And that quarterback for Western Kentucky is probably as good as any guy that you've ever played against that you've never heard of. Yeah, you've never heard of the guy. And he comes from a small school, Houston Baptist. He comes to Western Kentucky, and nothing changed. Their offensive coordinator at Houston Baptist also transferred to Western Kentucky along with 3 of the wide receivers from that school. Wow. And they have not missed a beat. And they have 28 transfers on that football team.
Wow.
28. Yeah. 10 of them were kids from Power 5 schools. 10 of them.
Oh.
We had 8, I think, from Power 5 schools, and we thought we had a ton. And they had 10 and 28 in total.
Michigan State has 9, and that's the difference it's made for them. So holy cow, that's 3 times as many. I didn't know that. That's amazing. Well, also coming up today, Don, we've got the IU basketball media day as basketball is getting ready to get started. Hoosier Hysteria coming up October 2nd. Big Ten media day coming up October 8th. So basketball about to kick off, but today is the IU basketball media day as well.
And that is, of course, Hoosier Hysteria coming your way at 4:00 in the afternoon Saturday before the Indiana football game. So Hoosier Hysteria will be played at 4 p.m. This used to take place at midnight.
Exactly. It used to be called Midnight Madness.
Madness, exactly. Midnight Madness. And it transitioned into an
the early bird special.
Yeah. Basically, well, that's what it is now. Because it was at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, I think, and for the last several years, they've been having it on a Saturday at 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, and now it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But it does signal a new era in Indiana basketball, as everyone knows, with Mike Woodson taking over the program back several months ago. And everybody is so excited about what this basketball program may look like here in the near future. And Mike has done a terrific job of keeping the kids that wanted to stay at Indiana, keeping those guys intact, and then a couple of transfers, a couple of recruits. It's going to be very interesting to see. And, of course, they've had 2 games in the Bahamas where they looked very, very, very good defensively, which was something that was missing a lot last year. So you got to be really excited about what we're about to see coming up in the basketball season. And without question, Hoosier Hysteria will kick that off.
Charlie, you didn't you have to go through the IU Media Day itself, I don't think, did you?
No, we didn't. No, we were not a part of that. Don, unless you know something. It might have been Brian Evers or Alan Henderson. Or I don't remember that.
How about Hoosier Hysteria? Do you remember that?
No, we
Going
did
through all that.
We did Midnight Madness, right? So it was 12 a.m. October 31st.
See, that's back when it mattered for practice, and now it's like they changed the rules. It's like, well, it's however many days before your first game.
Exactly. So yeah, so but this is pretty cool because I remember, I think it was my junior, senior year, they changed the format, but still, it was always like the first official day where you can come out as a group. Not
well, the good
like
thing this week is working out because they're planning it ahead at 4 o'clock, so it finishes, so you can go catch the 7:30 kickoff of Indiana Penn State. Also, don't forget Wednesday, the coaches show at Southern Stone Restaurant with Don and Coach Tom Allen at 7:05.
We may actually be on the air this week. Last week's show we had a technical problem right after the open. We went to commercial break, and all of a sudden, all the equipment broke down, and it took us 20 minutes to get back on the air with cell phones. So we were back on the air with a cell phone like at 27 minutes after the hour. And by that time, nobody was listening anymore because they were tired of either dead air or that stinking music that they play that leads up to our broadcast. So anyway,
well, I wish I would have gotten there earlier because no one knows more about things going to pieces at the last second when you don't want them to than I do. I could have got you probably right back on air. But Don, have fun at the coaches show. When will the basketball coaches show? Will that be on Mondays?
Basketball coaches show will be on Mondays, as it has been in the last several years now. It will continue that because Monday seems to be the one night that it conflicts the least with other games and other things that are going on. So we'll be on the air with Monday night shows. And, of course, we'll be actually doing some of those in November when we're still having football coaches shows. It'll be Monday and Wednesday that we'll be at Southern Stone Restaurant.
Absolutely. Don, I thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Man, you better get out. Well, you can't. You got to head this way for the pressers and IU Basketball Media Day. But
you're going to say something about golf. You're saying something about golf, and you're just
getting ready to, man. I was
just making me mad. I'm missing out the good weather here in the fall for golf. But my golf season's always ended in the fall anyway, so I'm used to it.
All right. Well, we'll see you soon, Don. I appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.